So here's a video for an 0304 Nissan Murano alternator change. Now the owner was complaining about lack of power. Lights were coming on inside. I did a quick test on the battery while it was running. I disconnected the positive battery post, and the vehicle would shut off, which gives me an inclination that the alternator was going, or it went. He was complaining about smoke coming out of this side when it was hot out and something smelled burnt. And I believed it was the alternator, which it was. So I commenced to working on the alternator. And how I got it out was, first of all, you disconnect your positive battery cable while you're working on your vehicle. I took off there's a bolt right there for the battery cable, and then there's the wire harness, which is right there. You can't see it in there, it's kind of dark, but the wire harness is right beside there. You just squeeze it, pull it out like a normal wire harness. That's a 12 mil, I believe. There is a 12 mil bolt behind. I don't believe you could see it from here, but in that direction, right underneath there, that's pointing towards the front. That is that's the 12 mil bolt that's holding the top of the alternator. And then there is a bolt holding the alternator right there. Take the belt off first. To take the belt off, there's a tensioner. Sorry. Which looks like this. You could see it in the top. Down there, you'll see that piece in there. You have to take that piece off as well to get the alternator out. It goes in there. Goes in there. And there's 3 bolts to it. I believe they're 12 mils. And then you got to take off the air conditioning pump. There's a bolt there. Take off that bolt for this oil hose. There's a bolt down there, 12 mil. You got to disconnect this hose. There's a 10 mil here and a 10 mil back there. And this hose will come loose and pull back. And you want to work the pump out this way. Pump it, you got to wiggle it out. And as you do that, you drop the alternator down. And that'll drop down. This will pull out to about here. And you can pull the alternator out from underneath. And then another way I did it was I took off the fan shroud with the fans and took off the radiator and took off this and pulled those out. That'll give you enough room to work on the alternator too if you want to do that, to drain the rad. You can do it that way. That's an easier way. Like with less, it's more work, but it's easier to get the alternator out and in than it is doing it from down here. But I just did it this way because I watched a video on it and tried it and it worked, but it was a little tougher than if you were to do it from the top. So that's that. And if you have any questions, get back to me on my video, comment below, and I could answer your questions on it. There's other videos on this same alternator change. But like I said, if you're willing to take off that stuff right there, it's pretty easy to take off. You take off that hose, those bolts, 2 10 mil bolts, and then there's 2 wire harnesses on the fan shroud down there, one over there and one over there, and those just squeeze off like normal clips, wire clips, and then this whole fan shroud will pull up, and then you disconnect your other hose down there after you drain it. And this hose, it's a little bit of elbow grease, but you can get it, and it all pops out. And then you'll have enough room to get at your alternator that way. I did it like that too. That's how I took it out of another vehicle, because I wasn't putting the vehicle back together. So I took all the fan shroud and everything apart, pulled it up, and I was able to get at the alternator from up top here, but I still had to pull the air conditioning pump and let it drop to access the back bolt on the alternator. And then another thing I found out was that this alternator is compatible with a Nissan Maxima. This Nissan Murano and a Nissan Maxima engine, sorry, are the same. They're the same they're the V6 3.5 Nissan engine. And the alternators are exactly the same. I checked the voltage on them, they were exactly the same. So if you can't find a Nissan Murano alternator, Nissan Maxima will work as long as it's the 3.5 V6 engine. I pulled this alternator out of a Maxima engine and it's the exact same alternator, same voltage, same size, same bolts, nothing different, exact same part. And if you search up the part on the internet, you'll get the exact same part for the Nissan Murano and for the Nissan Maxima. There you go. If you have any questions, comment below. Like and subscribe. Don't forget to unplug your battery post before you start any work. And you have to take off all this stuff too. Sorry, there's a bunch of shroud stuff that covers it. There's 2 shrouds, dust cover, and that come off. It's not too much work, but it's work if you're willing to do the work. And do not forget to mount your vehicle on a proper jack stand and make sure that the wheels are properly chalked. And have a secondary. I don't have a secondary here right now, a secondary stand of some sort. I usually just stick a tire under there sometimes just to be safe in case the jack stand fails and something happens. Never happened yet, but knock on wood. And there you go. Thanks for watching.